So when I first started making videos on YouTube, I was honestly clueless as to what the strategy for my channel would be. I just posted random videos, I changed topics constantly. I also thought that buying better gear was going to just make my videos succeed and look better, but it wasn't. And now if I could go back and start my channel over completely from scratch, I would do things so differently. So in this video, I'm gonna give you 8 tips that I wish somebody gave me when I was first starting my YouTube channel. So the first couple tips of this video have to deal with strategy and mindset tips. And the first tip is to niche down first and then expand your channel idea a little bit later. So the mistake that I made was that I was just making a bunch of random videos, hoping that something would take off and that I could just sort of make like videos about one thing one day and other things the next day. And then I could just put these all under the brand of my name, Craig, and that people would just like all of the content, even if it was like not related to each other at all. And let me tell you, that could not be further from the truth. That strategy did not work. And I had to get clear on my channel topic. A phrase you maybe have heard is that riches are in the niches. And wait, do you say niche or niche? Riches in the niches? Riches in the niches? I don't know. But I think the essence of that saying is really true, and that if you can focus, at least at first, on a specific target audience, it's going to be a lot easier to figure out who you're making videos for and what your next video should even be to begin with. And if you want to visualize this a little bit, if I was starting a channel today, I would try to look for the intersection of my passion, proficiency, and profit. So passion being what I'm passionate about, what I love talking about, and it's just like the overflow of what I enjoy. And then proficiency would be, what do I actually have experience in and what can I speak to out of my authority? And then the profit piece is if you're wanting to think through YouTube as more of a business model, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So you want to find the intersection of where what's profitable, what could you make money on, what are you good at talking about, and what are you passionate about? The second thing I wish I would have done differently is to document more than I just create. And what I mean by that is I think there's this pressure for YouTubers to feel like they have to be an expert on whatever their channel topic is about. And that is not really the case. You can be more of what's called like a guide instead of a guru. Be a guide, not a guru is a phrase that we've heard here at Think Media. And I think it's very true. A phrase that I heard one time was that you're perfectly positioned to help the person that you were about 1 year ago or 2 years ago. So you don't have to be like 7 years down the road from somebody and you have all this life experience. And if that is you, great. Like you're going to be able to help a lot of people. But don't feel the pressure if you're a beginning creator and you're just starting your channel to feel like you have to have all the answers for whatever your niche is about. Like if I was starting like gardening, like my wife and I just planted some flowers in our front yard, and I might say like, I think they look pretty good. And if I wanted to start a gardening channel, I would be so far behind so many people who have already built up their channels and have huge authority. But I would actually be perfectly positioned to speak to people who are just starting out. And a lot of those other, bigger YouTubers might not be making videos that speak to people who just planted their first flowers like yesterday. But if I wanted to start making videos about gardening, I could just sort of document the process and share my journey and my findings. And that would be a great way to start making videos and not feel the burden to have to be an expert, but I can more just share my experience as to what I'm learning through my YouTube journey. All right, these next couple tips center around content and the production of content. And the first thing that I would do differently is I would focus on posting 1 video per week, and I would make this non-negotiable. A big mistake that I made at the beginning was very inconsistent uploads, and we often see this from our Think Media students as well and our viewers. A lot of you struggle with consistent posting, and we find that the best way is to just put it on the calendar. What day is your shooting day? What day is your editing day? And when are you going to upload the video? And this is going to build trust with yourself to know that I can do this thing. Like I'm going to put it on the calendar. I'm going to make it a priority. This is really important. It also builds trust with YouTube, and they see that you're a consistent creator, and YouTube is going to reward that consistency. And your audience is also going to get used to you publishing on a more frequent basis. Being consistent with your upload schedule is honestly one of the biggest hacks. People will tell you about all these hacks to grow on YouTube. Truly, the biggest hack is to just be consistent, post 1 or 2 videos a week, and you definitely will start seeing some growth. Another production tip that I wish somebody would have told me was to just shoot with what I already have instead of waiting for the moment that I find like the perfect camera or the perfect YouTube backdrop and sound treatment in my room, all these things that I was so focused on at the beginning of my content creation journey. I was like, I gotta get my space dialed in. I gotta get my battle station set up. These are all things that are great. They're awesome. They're really cool, but not if it's going to be placed in front of you actually getting content produced and publishing videos out for the world to see. So truly, if you've got a modern cell phone and you're not on like the Sidekick with like the flippy swivel screen or like the Razr, I love those Razrs, by the way. I mean, Bring back the razor? Hashtag 2025, bring back razors? I'm here for it. But if you got a modern cell phone, you got a high quality camera that is ready to shoot 4K video. It actually has a pretty good microphone on it as well. You could just start with using your phone, and we have countless viewers and students who actually use their phone entirely for their YouTube workflow, and their videos look great. And if you're just ready to punch fear in the face and start up your YouTube channel with the gear that you already have, then you should check out our YouTube Jumpstart event happening in just a few days. It's a free event. It's 3 days long. We're going to go live each day and teach you in-depth strategies for YouTube growth and monetization this year. So there's going to be giveaways, prizes, and awesome sessions taught by the one and only Sean Cannell. He's my boss. What can I say? That's pretty cool. So you're not going to want to miss this event. You can actually sign up at this link right here on screen or at the link down in the description below. Now, shifting gears into some channel growth and optimization strategies, the first thing that I would do differently is I would focus so much more on my titles and thumbnails. For me personally, looking back at my channel, I would focus so much on the idea and the production of the video and the editing of the video and making sure that it looks so perfect and polished. And I would spend very little time on my title and my thumbnail. The thumbnail would usually be like the very last thing that I would do, and it's just sort of like an afterthought. And then the title would usually be like the first thing that came to mind, like Sony a7 III camera review 2024. And it's like, well, there's 300 other people who are making that video. It's not really positioned to succeed very well. And if I could go back, I would reverse that whole strategy. I would focus fully on the title and the thumbnail first before I start making the video. What is my exact title going to be? And who am I going to reach with this specific title? And what's the thumbnail that's going to reinforce that package? And right there is a winning strategy. You are going to see way more success out of your videos if you focus on reversing what most people do. Think about your title and your thumbnail first before you start filming your video. I guarantee you, if you just try this for your next video, you're going to realize like, oh man, like the video aligns so much more with the thumbnail, and it's just going to feel like a more cohesive video package. And then the next thing that I would do if I could start over is to not obsess at all over subscribers for at least the first year. This is a huge error that I made at the beginning. I was just so focused on like, where are my subscribers? How do I get subscribers? I'd watch all the hack videos. I would actually start watching Think Media videos, ironically, about like how do you grow your channel and get more subscribers? And I was so focused on these subscribers when I should have been measuring other data, which actually is important for creating subscribers. Things like your click-through rates. Like how often are people actually clicking on my videos? Are my click-through rates really high or are they really low? And most of them were really low because I had poor video packages. Also, my average view duration wasn't that good. And there's things that you could do with better storytelling and better techniques to drive retention and help people stick around for longer portions of the video. I also could have experimented with having longer videos that are 20 or 30 minutes in length to drive that total average view duration upwards, which YouTube loves to see people on the platforms for longer periods of times. So I was not monitoring any of these stats. I was only focused on subscribers and views. And the truth is subscribers are just a result of having better click-through rates and good average view duration and good video retention and storytelling techniques. These are all things I wish I would have focused more on instead of trying to refresh my home feed to see how many subscribers I was at. That was a big mistake on my part. Now, these last couple tips have to deal with long-term channel growth and health. And the first would be to start building an email list as early as possible. I wish somebody would have told me this. I did not know anything about building email lists. And you might be thinking to yourself, email? Like who uses email still? Like my grandma will like send me an email every once in a while and I think it's super weird. I get you, but it's really important to think about building an email list because if you're putting all of your trust in the YouTube platform and algorithm, while we do love YouTube, I mean, we're Think Media, like we preach YouTube is the king of social platforms. The problem with YouTube is what we call a rented audience. You don't actually own your YouTube channel. YouTube owns your YouTube channel. And you're only like a couple copyright strikes away from losing your entire channel. And we know people who have lost their channel or have been in danger of losing their channel, like really close to losing it. And they would have lost like 6-7 figure businesses by losing their channel. It's actually a really scary thing. And the benefit of having an email list as early as possible is that you now have what's called an owned audience. These are people that you directly have access to. You have their email address and you're able to send them products directly, product links, video links. You can sell them on course offerings. You can send them your next podcast upload. There's so many things you can do with this audience that you own, you have a direct connection to, and you're not relying on that distribution of content from another platform like Instagram or YouTube. So when I got serious about actually growing an email list, in about 6 months, I grew an email list from 0 to 10,000 people by just about 7 good social media posts with good calls to actions, and then 3 YouTube videos where I integrated some calls to action in the YouTube videos. So 0 to 10,000 email subscribers in about 6 months by just getting serious about growing an email list. And here at Think Media, we use email all the time for mass communication to our audience, as well as to pitch them different products or offerings that are happening that quarter. And that brings me to the last thing that I wish somebody would have told me before starting my channel, which is to think of YouTube more like a business and not just like, I'm doing YouTube as a content creator. The issue for me at the start was I had no knowledge of how to make money on YouTube and how to become a successful YouTuber. I just thought that if you start uploading videos and making videos, you'll just grow a bunch of subscribers and all of a sudden you'll start making a bunch of YouTube ad revenue and life is gonna be good. I'll tell you the truth. That did not happen. Firstly, I wish somebody would have told me not to rely on YouTube ad revenue alone, and that you really are going to need to diversify your revenue streams if you want to succeed on YouTube. You cannot rely on AdSense. AdSense is going to fluctuate up and down, and it's not going to be very consistent. But if you can have different products or services that you could offer, that is going to lead to better long-term health for you as a creator. I also eventually started leveling up my education and reading business books and strategy books. Actually, wait. So here are 4 books that were just sitting on my shelf that I've read recently. Hook Point by Brendan Kane, such a great book about how to hook viewers for your videos. The Guide to Going Viral, also by Brendan Kane. He's not sponsoring us to say in this. I just love his content. YouTube Secrets, which if you're a fan of the channel, you've heard of YouTube Secrets. This is our book, and we're actually giving it away for free this year. All you got to do is pay for shipping, and we'll link that down in the description below, how you can get this book for free. And then Day Trading Attention by Gary Vaynerchuk. And people say that I sound like Gary Vee. Do I sound like Gary Vee? Let me know in the comments. Am I a voice friend? Me and Gary, are we voice friends?
I'm gonna literally get Russian hackers to destroy your life.
So truly, leveling up my education and reading business and strategy books has helped me so much understand the business behind starting a YouTube channel, and that it's not solely just about making videos. Now, if some of this conversation inspires you, you should definitely check out the best strategies to start making money on YouTube this year. It's a podcast that I did with one of our other content creators, Nate. So check that out. I'll see you over there, and I'll see you in the next one.